So just keep that in mind for this match. And here we
Here
go.
we go.
Welcome.
Yeah. I'm Jacob Van Lunen. I'm here with Gavin Verhey, and we're watching the finals of the Star City Games Legacy Open here in Edison, New Jersey. This match is between Kassis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I talked to him earlier, and that's how I believe he asked me to pronounce it. And Alix Hatfield. Alix is piloting an exciting Time Spiral deck. I've really wanted people to play with that card since it was unbanned. I think it's one of the more powerful cards available. Ellie is playing a junk deck of his own design. He just top 8'd tournament last week, Star City Games Legacy Open, and here he is again. Last time he lost in the quarterfinals, this time he's all the way through to the finals.
Yeah, and I mean, the players clearly know what they're doing. They made it all the way here. And this is exciting. It's a pretty exciting finals here in Edison, New Jersey. We've seen a lot of great Magic played, and this is it, the last match of the weekend, what it all comes down to. Two great players playing two great and exciting decks in an awesome format. I can't wait to see how this one plays out. Alix leads on an island. Eli has Marsh Flats, or Ellie,
Ooh.
or EK. The junk player has Marsh Flats followed by a Mox Diamond.
Yeah, he pitches a Wasteland, which has very little value here.
Yeah, this Wasteland's not so good against mono islands. And accelerates his mana, so he's going to have a turn 1 2-drop here. Could it be a turn 1 him? Could that be a thing?
That could be a thing.
Of course, the issue, we haven't seen Alix's hand, and we don't want to talk about it if we have, but if he has Force of Will, that could be a huge blowout, too.
Well, I mean, if Force of Willing a him is like surprisingly like
Right, I mean,
not great because you're kind of hemming yourself, you know. Like,
and there it is. He did have a him.
yeah, and I mean, this can just steal a game. Like, this is what we've talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. So he hims and doesn't.
Card that gets my vote for top 5 most powerful cards in the format.
Yeah, him is a. I mean, it's oh, so he does force it. So it basically he gets to him himself, but choose the cards. So it's chosen discard instead of a random discard on that him. Loses a Cunning Wish, and Alix plays a second land and passes the turn back.
Oh, double him draw.
Wow, this is exactly the draw that Ely was looking for. Jamie Park tells us that it's Ely Kassis, and he says he swears
Ely
it.
Kassis. Okay.
So,
All right, I'll trust you, Jamie.
I think that's what we're going to go for this match. A couple other players who I trust on Twitter have told me differently, but I'm going to trust Jamie. He told us this once before, and he seems to be sticking with it, so I'll take his word for it. Jamie was here this weekend, too. We never got him into the booth, but it was great to see him.
And Jamie's somewhat of a master. He was piloting Burroughs in the standard event. I don't know how well he did, but I saw round 1. His match pairing sheet said he was playing against Jerry Thompson, but there was some confusion because Jerry had some buys.
So Ely does not have a third land. He had a gray draw, exactly what he was looking for, him into him, but no third land.
He has a Thoughtseize, though, right?
Well,
He's probably going to play his Confidant. Yeah, that seems great.
yeah, here's
Yeah.
our Confidant. And passes back. Gabe Lanciano on Twitter says that Vindicate in this matchup can seriously tilt the game in Junk's favor because lands are such a premium for Spiral, and that's certainly true.
That makes a lot of
Especially
sense.
when you like him down cards, like those lands are going to be crucial. And all right, so yeah, here's the Thoughtseize from Ely. Shows him a hand of double High Tide Candelabra of Thanos. So Alix doesn't have a lot going on right here.
I think you just take a Tide.
I think you also take the Tide. I mean, the Tide is probably going to be the backbreaker over the Candelabra. Plus, if you draw another discard spell or you have another discard spell, you can take the other Tide, which really makes that Candelabra absolutely worthless. Yep, Tide goes. And Confidant swings in. And here comes Sense Divining Top. A good combo with Bob. You never want to see Bob topless. And it works out. It's exactly what he was looking for. And Alix passes back. Draws Windswept Heath.
Ely reveals a windswept heath off his confidant. Looks like he has plenty more action in his hand now. This game looks like it's a quick win for the junk deck played by Ely.
Alix can still top deck some cards, but it's certainly not looking good for him. Ely had exactly the start he was looking for, with him to Turak, turn 1 him to Turak, turn 2 him to Turak, Dark Confidant, top, Pride Mage. Like, it's pretty good. I don't know how much better you can draw it up than double him to Turak on turn 1 and turn 2. That is pretty incredible.
I mean, him is what he needs in this match. So drawing 2 is exactly what he needs to take some games away from Alix.
I mean, like we said earlier, you him the right cards and you can win against anything.
I mean, if you resolve a him, it gets very scary for your opponent.
Oh yeah, totally. Alix trying to figure out how he's going to get back into this one.
Seems very difficult at this point. Now, the fact that he doesn't even have a land here just makes it like especially difficult.
Oh man, yeah, looking in a rough spot for Alix Hatfield here.
And Ely takes out his F6 button and presses his F6 button. That's actually a piece of cardboard that says F6 on it.
That is
pressing.
That is very cute. For those who missed it. All right. So,
it's actually the only key on my keyboard that's currently broken.
Oh, really?
From slamming it after a misclick.
Man, yeah. Magic Online and then the F keys. You used to learn those. Did you ever use F7 when you were playing Elves combo? Online?
Yes.
Yeah, all the time. That's a very underutilized one. Maybe a bunch of you guys probably out there don't even know what F7 does, but it stacks the same triggers if it's from the same cards. If you have like 4 Nettle Sentinel triggers, it stacks them for you.
So you can like order them properly.
Anyway, back to this match at hand. Alix is searching for his outs, and anyone can get out of this situation. It's John Finkel, but if anybody else can get out of this situation, it's Alix Hatfield. And Merchant Scroll for Brainstorm is a... Oh, no, I guess not getting Brainstorm.
Not quite sure.
He's trying to figure out what is my play here. I think feels like he might have to draw cards to get in the game, but if he doesn't feel like he has to draw the correct combination of cards, he might be able to get a particular card that he's looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, he has one more turn where he's gonna eat a swing, then have to take it back. So he might just be thinking about, okay, well, what card can I put in my hand that increases my density of cards that are wins on the next turn to the highest degree?
Yeah, I mean, he has to start going for it and start building that hand, which just got so annihilated early on.
Maybe it's a time spiral. Yeah, if it's a time spiral, if he gets a time spiral, then the next turn, if he draws a land, he can go land High Tide time spiral.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's how he's playing to right here. I mean, and then you just pick up 7 brand new cards, and that's that.
Brainstorm seems like a fine choice.
Merchant Scroll, for those who don't know what the Homeland's Common and also 8th edition reprint does, is for blue and 1. It's a sorcery, and it gets you an instant out of your library into your hand, which is a nice little thing to do when you're a combo deck trying to get all these instants like High Tide and Meditate, Brainstorm.
So he's gonna brainstorm. He needs to find that land spiral.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's looking for. So he's going to brainstorm here. He's like, just drops it on the table. Picks up 3 cards. He decides what to do over there. Ely has Pride Mage, Dark Confidant, Tarmogoyf. Since his Divining Top, 2 Mox Diamonds, and a Bayou, and what looks like a Scrub land out. So that's been his basis this game. Ely started off with a double him to Turok draw. Turn 1 him, turn 2 him.
Yeah.
about as good as he can hope for.
And when you're throwing 2 cards up on your opponent, things are just really, really tough. Good way of thinking about this, it's as if Alix has mulligan to 5.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, a lot of so he ponders. Man, yeah, Merchant Scroll is such a great card. He found that a Brainstorm, with that Brainstorm, we got him to pondering range. You can't get I mean, there are a couple cards in the deck you can't get with Merchant Scroll. You can't get the namesake card.
Yeah, you
obviously.
can't actually spiral with it, but
man, there are some there's certainly some sweet ones you can get and that really set up your combo. Like the fact that High Tide is an instant is very convenient. Good old Homeland's design, making the card that boosts your blue mana an instant. Or Fallen Empire's design, I suppose.
now it's pretty interesting here because, you know, Ely had the perfect hand for this game, the absolute perfect hand.
Yeah.
And Alix is very close to just stealing this game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens on Ely's next turn. If Ely has any kind of disruption, it could be really rough for Alix. But other than that, Alix might be able to get something going next turn. We'll see for sure. But I guess...
That looks like a bunch of blue cards. Oh.
That
That's
was
his graveyard. I was like, what is that? I was like, I thought he had like a 2-carder. This is
How does he
real.
have so many cards in his hand?
He has 3 cards, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not quite. Alright, there's the him.
No.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for Alix Hatfield.
So Alix needs to keep the High Tide that's in his hand, and
Draw Time Spiral.
yeah.
Alright, let's see what happens. And points out a card from the dice. Alright, so the middle card goes. Keeps the middle card. Oh, he loses High Tide in turnabout. So he still has that Candelabra in his hand, right? Ely knows what the last card is. And yeah, I don't think Alix can win now.
Yeah, I mean he can.
I guess if you brainstorm, you would have to brainstorm into High Tide, Island.
Well,
no, he has to put 2 cards
no,
back.
because you have to put 2 cards back.
You can put the Candelabra back, but you just have to put one of the others back too. Yeah, it's pretty rough goings here.
It's really tough.
So I was going to draw his card, and I imagine he's going to pick them up. Or maybe see if Ely...
If it's a time spiral, it's just the most brutal thing ever.
See if Ely accidentally flips Emrakul to the Dark Confidant. He does not. And,
He could turn about and tap his opponent's team.
yeah, but... I mean, he can do that to buy a turn, but it doesn't really accomplish anything.
You're right, it doesn't accomplish anything.
I mean, just like I said, gets another card, another turn to see Emrakul off of a Dark Confidant.
That's about it.
But it does get more information. What it doesn't accomplish anything inside the game. What it does accomplish is Alix gets information on Ely and how he plays. He already has full information of deck lists, but knowing how he plays and maybe some of the plays he might make in a situation like this could potentially be useful later on.
Yeah.
And he, you know, all right, here comes another Reliquary. Alix is like, all right, sure, you have another Reliquary. So yeah, Alix still has a legitimate reason to play it out, gaining information off of Ely. And
and 3 Hymn to Turox was enough to
3 Hymn to Turox was enough to bring the combo deck down.
to bring it down.
Yeah, and there we go. Alix packs in his cards.
So we're off to a game 2, and this time the High Tide deck gets to be on the play.
Yeah. High Tide deck gets to be on the play, and that means that no turn... High Tide was on the play last game, right? Because he played an island and his opponent hit him.
Yes.
So yeah, High Tide will be on the play again, so it could be the same draw, but that was a pretty fortunate draw. In the meantime, while these players shuffle up, we're about to give away 1 year of premium here in the finals of the tournament.
A whole year?
A whole year. You could read things from all the coverage, from all the Star City games, Open Series, all the tournament reports people are going to write that are going to be on the premium side, all the great technology from Patrick Chapin, from Jerry Thompson, Brad Nelson, Michael Jacob. This is well worth it for a lot of you people out there, so you're going to want to tune in here. Here we go. You ready for the question?
Sure.
All right, get your hashtags ready. The hashtag is hashtag SCG Premium. Go onto Twitter and prepare yourself. So here's the question. So there was a player in this top 8 who also made top 8 earlier in the day, in the standard portion of the event. What was that player's name?
Did we do that one already?
No, we didn't. We also made top 8 last week.
Okay, I thought we. Oh, you're. I thought that was the. I thought our first trivia question was the one we just did. No, it's fine. I think you're right.
But we could go back into which. And so, for those who didn't hear the question the first time, which player made top 8 of the legacy portion here in Edison, and also made top 8 of the standard portion here in Edison? It's
Oh, you're right.
yeah. So answer with the correct answer, and you have the chance to win 1 year of premium. In the meantime, Ely takes game 1. A lot of people said it was bad for him. That doesn't look to be the case. I mean, obviously, it was, his opponent was able to rebuild. Alix rebuild, and he had another him to bring him down. The double him on the start was a pretty good case, but it's like what we were talking about before the match. If you him somebody and you hit the right cards, or you him somebody twice, you'll be good enough to beat practically any deck. And the disruption Ely has access to is certainly enough to beat Alix Hatfield here if he gets the right draw. And I mean, these are both two great players going at it, and it'll be great to see what kind of shenanigans happen in the post-sideboarded war.
I'm excited to see how things play out. Alix probably has a lot less dead cards. Alix has all these cards pre-board where, you know, they're not really big action spells. But,
I mean, the thing is, Alix doesn't actually have access to a ton of sideboard cards because of his wish board. I don't have the deck list in front of me, but when we featured him earlier, the only cards you could really bring in were Pact of Negation and Repeal.
yeah,
The Repeals might make an appearance.
I think the
Extra cards
repeals will be
to
coming
take
in.
out.
Yeah.
Ely we did not get to cover. Still don't know what's in his sideboard, but maybe he has some hate for this matchup in there. We're not sure. We talked to him a little bit earlier, and he didn't really mention anything. But if he does, it could be huge. Because having that game 1 cushion, even if games 2 and 3 aren't in his favor, if he has something to board in while Alix doesn't have a lot to board in, it could be gigantic.
I mean, there we just saw the power of some of this disruption that
Yes.
Ely decided to add to his deck. It seems like it's working out really well for him here. And last week he was able to get a top 8 playing a green-white, Mangara deck. This like beater deck with an engine that's strong against some Rockwool decks, And here he is. It looks like he tested the deck a little more. He decided, well, people are going to be playing combo decks this week. I want disruption.
Yeah.
And he brought the disruption, and it seems to be working out really well for him.
Yeah, when he was in the booth, he was talking about, he was like, well, I started with the green-white deck and wanted to splash black. Like, I was like, okay, I'll play black, get some disruption, get Dark Confidant. That card seems pretty good. It's a big liability when my opponent has Confidant and I don't. But then he's just like, well, eventually I just found the black was so good, I just, made black a more main color so I could play cards like him to Turok, which has just been awesome. I mean, even in the hands of everybody basically this weekend. Gerard Fabiano, we watched him play over and over, and those Team to Turoks were great for him, and the same thing in the winning Team America deck list from last week. Alright, so Alix leads on an island, his pretty standard play in this tournament. Noah, Ponder, or Preordain.
It looks like Ely has a double him draw again.
Seriously?
Yeah. I see that pink hue from the, the one him I'm talking about, not the one with the wolf.
The wolf one is my favorite.
I think the wolf is my favorite too. I'm a dog lover,
But the question is, so he has double him again, or if assuming he has double him again, does he have the diamond too? That would be absurd. 2 games in a row.
If he has the diamond to boot, then
All right, maybe he'll just in quotes, bunny quotes, have a Thoughtseize. Yeah, so he taps his land. Looks like we're Thoughtseizing. Drops it on the table. Oh no, he just passes. So he played a 1-drop. Was it Mother of Runes? Or no, since it's Divining Top.
Top. Yeah.
Okay. So top comes down for Ely here. And
it's time for the hymns to begin.
well,
Well, he needs another black mana.
See. All right, and down comes Mother of Runes.
That seems mediocre at best in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's very potential Ely just did not have enough cards to sideboard in. Okay, so there's Bajuka Bog. He's like, get your graveyard out of there. And
I hate your graveyard.
Bajuka Bog actually could be surprisingly relevant in this matchup. Two that thing up in response to a time spiral, and you could really drain some of the cards that Alix had, but Ely's like, well, I just need to land, so here comes my Bajuka Bog.
Yeah, if it's in your hand, there's not really much you can do with it in that regard.
Exactly. So Alix built up to land number 3 here. Horizon Canopy comes down. Looks like he has a Mox Diamond in his hand. Yep, here comes the diamond. Discards that Mace of Ith. Certainly not doing a lot in this matchup.
It's not too valuable here.
Just it is actually just diamond fodder. And taps 2, and I think this is going to be the him.
Looks like it.
And there's him. You know the old saying, right? Him, I win.
Yes, I do remember that.
Now, I'm still not convinced there's another him in Ely's hand, but
I'm convinced.
You're convinced?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the pink hue on the edge of his one card.
Okay, fair enough.
I've looked at a lot of hymns in my day. It's always been one of my favorite cards.
Alright, so it looks like he's getting forced again, so once again...
Try to be a little more quiet.
So yeah, once again, him, you choose, instead of random discard. 1 Force Will, 1 blue card of your choice. And Alix casts Cunning Wish. Searches for... looks at his hand again. Being careful to make sure the 2 don't touch. You don't want to accidentally have anything bad happen there.
I mean, he's on camera. We could confirm.
So Cunning Wish is for Meditate. He just needs to get up on cards here. He feels like Ely has probably kept a disruption heavy hand.
Cards.
And those cards are going to be crucial. Is that a time spiral he just drew? I think it
is, in fact, a time spiral.
Okay. Here comes Flooded Strand. Passes back. For those of you just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey here with Jacob Van Lunen in the finals of this tournament. And we're seeing 2 pretty cool decks face off. We're seeing on the right a time spiral combo deck with High Tide. Finally seen it break out. People have been waiting for the High Tide deck to show up. And Alix Hatfield, I think he finally innovated the right list. And he's here in the finals fighting to take down the title. He's been playing great all day. We watched him a couple times. And right now, he just has 3 islands and a Flooded Strand. He doesn't really play any other permanents except for Candelabra of Tanos. But his hand is chock full of cards that'll draw him cards and set up his combo. And the way his combo works is he's going to High Tide a bunch of times, meaning all of his islands tap for multiple mana. He'll untap them all, basically net a bunch of mana, draw a bunch of cards, repeat the process. Time Spiral, which untaps all of his lands, draws more cards, etc. On the other hand, Ely has a much more straightforward strategy. Ely, on the left, has a black, white, green, junkish deck, Dark Confidant, since his Divining Top, Mox Diamond, either Reliquary. And, alright, so there's Alix's hand. Alix has, that is a spicy hand to choose from. What do you choose here? Mind Over Matter, Preordain, Cunning Wish, 2 Time Spirals, Turnabout, and Candelabra of Tanos. If anyone's wondering why we have to talk a little quiet, just because the players kind of hear us, it's a little echoey in here. So we'll try and speak as close to the mics as we possibly can. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting matchup, and Ely managed to take game 1 here in the in the finals of the Edison Open Series with double him, turn 1 him, turn 2 him. Didn't quite have the same draw here. 1 him did get cast, but it was Force of Will. But he's trying to pick Alix's hand apart with the Thoughtseize. What does he take? That is the question. What would you take here? This is a difficult, difficult choice.
I mean, it's pretty tough. I feel like it's either like Wish or Preordain, right? So the rest of the spells kind of like cost too much to really like matter outside of a vacuum. Like,
I mean, for some reason, I keep getting drawn to that Mind Over Matter, but I don't think it's gonna be relevant enough this game. Just like if that card resolves, Ely doesn't. I'm pretty sure Ely doesn't have Vindicate in his deck, so it's gonna be difficult for him to remove. But he does have Pride Mage, which is good. So yeah, I don't know why that'd be the correct card to take. I think Preordain might actually be an okay choice here. Obviously you can't take either of the Time Spirals unless you have another Thoughtseize to back it up. Taking Mind Over Matter doesn't seem right. Taking Candelabra doesn't seem right. Taking Turnabout doesn't seem right. Definitely boils down to Preordain or Cunning Wish. And
Yep.
Preordain is honestly the more dangerous card when Alix is trying to dig for lands.
That makes sense. And it goes ahead and takes the Preordain.
Yep, I think that's the correct play to make. And so that Cunning Wish will still be good for Alix, but the thing about the Time Spiral deck is you have to hit a ton of land drops because you want to be able to generate a lot of mana. And especially in a matchup like this where there's not a ton of pressure on him right now and he can just build up, and he's got 2 Time Spirals to ride on.
Looks like that second card that I thought was a him was actually a Thoughtseize.
Aha. And so there's the Pride Mage, so yeah, taking Mind Over Matter doesn't quite do that much.
That puts Alix down to 16. So he's still 6 swings away.
And
But I'm sure more creatures will join the party by then.
So Alix tapped 3 mana to cast Meditate.
Yes.
Okay, so he meditated in response to the Preordain. There we go. I was like, why is Meditate not on top? Right, so he meditated in response, so Ely gets another turn. And another him.
Oh, I think it may have actually been another him.
Alright. Let's see what Ely hits. This is huge right here.
6 cards.
6 cards. That card's getting taken. And that card's getting taken. Cunning Wish and Turnabout, well, the other card he wanted to take, yeah. So that means his hand is Time Spiral, Candelabra of Tawnos, and Mind Over Matter. And the Mind Over Matter not doing too much thanks to that Kozali Pride Mage. So right now I think Alix is trying to build up. The card that I think would want to see most here is High Tide. If he draws a High Tide, he might be able to get to go High Tide Time Spiral and try and combo out. Not a assured combo, but at least try and get somewhere. But until he finds a High Tide, it's going to be a rough situation for Alix Hatfield.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets the Time Spiral on High Tide, it looks pretty good for him. I believe he drew another Candelabra of Tawnos. Not quite the card he wants to draw.
Yeah, the Candelabra, the double-edged sword with the Candelabra is, obviously it's been great when he's comboing out. Every time he combos that, it's been sweet. You're like, okay, Candelabra, untap a bunch of lands, but with 4 in your deck, you can just draw too many of them. They do not do anything if you're not comboing. They don't help you dig, they just sit there. And when you're disrupted like this,
yeah, and I mean, he has a ton of card manipulation normally, so it's not really an issue.
Right.
He can ponder them away, preordain them away, brainstorming them away is the most efficient way to do it. But when your opponent casts 2 hymns and a Thoughtseize, it's
what is that land? Is that Halimar Depths? It looks like, yeah, Halimar Depths is the land Ely just played. That's a really interesting addition. So we could knight up a Halimar Depths.
Huh.
I don't think there's any other land that lets you rearrange your top 3 cards, right? Oh, that's just divining top. Man, he just like played a land, tapped it.
It's late.
But played a land. He played a land, tapped it, rearranged 3 cards. It might as well have been a Halimar Depths. Except it doesn't tap for blue mana.
Every land you have can Halimar Depths whenever you want.
Yeah, it's true. All your lands are Halimar Depths. Alright, so Thoughtseize here.
And I guess he just takes the other spiral, right? One of the 2 spirals.
I think it has to be Spiral. It's definitely not Candelabra, and that Pride Mage has a Mind Over Matter on lock. So,
but no, take the Mind Over Matter, though.
I like
just so he keeps the clock on the
taking
board.
a Spiral only means anything if Ely thinks he's going to draw another discard spell, right? Because the second Spiral is essentially worthless.
Yeah. And if he takes the...
Alright, so he does take the Spiral. I mean, I don't think that Mind Over Matter is going to be doing very much for him this game, because at the point where Alix could really get Mind Over Matter online, he could just be casting Time Spiral instead, right? So
exactly.
Alright, so Ely plays the Verdant Catacombs, cracks it, shuffling away the top cards of his library. So much for that Halimar Depths, jeez.
So Alix's deck plays 2 copies of Mind Over Matter, and just checked on StarCityGames.com, and there are only 2 copies left.
So if you want to build this
it's
deck,
a race.
Yeah, the race is on.
Get him.
$4.99 for one, and $5.99 for the other. So this is your opportunity. And there's a good chance they're going to go up in price after this weekend. So,
although I doubt they're going to be necessarily a mainstay of this archetype.
Maybe, but I mean, Alix seemed to think that he wanted them, and it's kind of a tricky card to get, and I think I could easily see the price raise on that one. So Ely trades. Oh, and there's the other Thoughtseize for the other time spiral. Just the best. Like, Alix just dejectedly flops his hand down. It has just been not what Alix has wanted to see over and over. What does he draw? Looks like an island. Okay. Passes back. Now, there isn't a huge clock on Alix, but just 3 damage a turn is going to slowly whittle him away, and he really needs to find...
He's going to start being able to mind a creature down, too, but still.
Yeah.
He's going to decrease the amount of damage he's taking.
Right. But, I mean, he can mind the creature down. Really, the mind is probably just going to trade with that Pride Mage, I would imagine. Actually, minding creature down isn't even that good, because the Mother Rune still hits for 2 to do Exalted, so even if Ely maybe just doesn't crack...
Yeah, he just, saves 1 by minding.
Yeah, I mean, he has to discard 2 cards. He probably doesn't even waste the Pride Mage on the Mind Over Matter. So... yeah. Oh, man. This is a rough situation for Alix Hatfield. His hand at post-meditate looked okay, and then it just got ripped apart by consecutive Thoughtseizes.
Yeah, 2 hymns and 2 Thoughtseizes.
This is exactly the disruption suite that Ely was looking to get.
And the thing is Alix was still so close. Ely really needed every last piece of disruption.
Absolutely.
But he got it, and that's why he chose to play the deck he chose to play.
Right? I mean, let's think about him, right? Him, I win.
It's just a card that does that. Do you remember how bad it was when you got Blightninged in Standard?
Mandatory is a lot like that, except for it's random and costs 2 mana.
Yeah, except it's like 1,000 times better. It's better in so many ways.
I mean, I guess it can't kill your Jace. It's one upside, but... And GJ comes down, I think that's curtains for Alix. I mean, I guess if you could draw a land, play that Mind Over Matter, buy a little more time, but he has a turnabout that can buy a turn. The only way he can win it is I think he just has to find running High Tide into Time Spiral. I think that's what he's looking for here. Alright, so Alix is like, okay, I have to thin my deck. I'm going to end up tapping this. Play this. I mean, he can buy a little bit of time, but... it's going to be rough for Alix to win this game. He could play Mind Over Matter, tap down both of Ely's creatures, because he can't, doesn't have a mana untapped to use Squiggle Pride Mage. But he'd have to draw exactly the right 2 cards. Let's see if he does it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting situation. Like, Alix can still draw his way out of this. The Mind Over Matter can extend this game for a little bit. Now, when it's Ely's turn, Alix can just discard a card and tap the Pride Mage. Even if Pride Mage aims to solve the thing, like, he'll probably discard another card and tap the Mother so that he can, so that he can't just equip the sword and
that's assuming he draws the land here. Alix looks at the cards in his hand. I have not seen what that card is yet, but he did not look happy about it.
That's a High Tide.
It is a High Tide. Alright, so we can turn about Ely on his turn. Buy 1 more turn, and if his top card is Time Spiral...
like a Ponder.
Or Ponder, potentially. There are 2 Time Spirals already in Alix's graveyard.
Yeah.
This would be quite the comeback by Alix Hatfield here.
Comeback.
Oh, man. So, Alix turnabouts, I presume. Players are talking. Alix tapping his toes, a little nervous. Eli tops again, just looking for another him, potentially, to knock cards out of Alix's hand. But I don't think he's going to find it. Oh no, yeah, he does. Was that, I thought I saw him Vindicate, but I didn't think he was playing with that card. What is that? Unreadable card. DCI promo.
Oh, quite unreadable.
I have absolutely no idea. It's whatever the other card is. Halmar Depths, but it didn't come into play tap this time, so who knows? Might as well just be Halmar Depths. Okay. I'm trying to think, what is the DCI foil land?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think that they're Mazovitz, right?
Oh, they could be Mazovitz.
I don't think so.
But I mean, he's probably only playing one of
Yeah,
that
he's only
card.
playing one
I can't imagine
Mazovitz,
playing
right.
the other one. Oh, it's a wasteland. It's
Okay.
one of the promo wastelands.
Okay. Fair enough.
Alright.
Alright, so here we go. Alix knows what he's looking for. Is it there?
Lost it.
Drew Merchant Scroll.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean,
So I guess he can get. Okay, let's see. So if he pays
this
one
can
mana,
happen. Let's settle in.
I think. I don't. Oh yeah, no. He can make a lot of mana with that Candelabra. So if he can Merchant Scroll, do a Ponder. Oh man, this is tight. So yeah, he starts with the High Tide. Here we go. Can he pull it off?
And actually, if you try to use your mom to protect a creature from Mind Over Matter, they can just discard another card in response.
Right. So it's the same as tapping creatures.
My mom, on the other hand, her ability is Split Second. Oh my goodness, wait, he just wins.
Did he find Time Spiral?
No, he drew a Merchant Scroll. So he has the double Candelabra plus High Tide.
Well, the Merchant Scroll can't get Time Spiral.
Well, he can get Blue Sun Zenith.
But is that going to be enough?
I think so, right? He's Mind Over Matter in his hand. He can just untap this.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He
but
draws some
Eli has
cards he wants.
Pride Mage and untapped land.
Yeah. He has 2 Candelabras. Yeah. Wow.
Mind Over Matter, untapping Candelabra of Taunos.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Wow. Well, that is a ton of mana.
It's definitely a little bit of mana.
Alright, so here's going to come Mind Over Matter, I presume. And then Merchant Scroll. Okay, Merchant Scroll's first. And
He has,
Blue Sun Zenith, that's the card he gets.
yeah, it has to be Blue Sun Zenith at this point, I think.
Eli taps his F6 button. Pulled it out again. Eli,
I wouldn't tap the F6 button. I have most Pride Mages in play.
yeah, seriously, that's a little dangerous. Alright, let's see. So what is Alix getting? What is Alix going to find here? He has Meditate on the front of his deck, I think, right now.
Ely looks like a tired man right now. I don't blame him.
So he gets Meditate. Maybe he doesn't have Blue Sun Zenith in his deck currently, although he could just Cunning Wish for one. So I'm curious, I guess Alix was like, no, I'm not going to get Blue Sun Zenith here. I'm sure he has a good reason.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When we play a deck like this, I would trust Alix Hatfield over myself in this situation. So, alright. So here comes Meditate. I'm going to draw 4 cards. Alright, he dumps Meditate down. Let's see what's there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks over what he's got.
Yeah, he can Mind Over Matter, right?
Well, he wants to play everything else first.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and another High Tide makes the
That's a ponder there. Alright, so Alex still not sure if he can win the game. He's got his back against the wall here, trying to figure out using every tool he has. Wait, that's a time spiral on top. Is
I
it?
believe that is a time spiral.
I believe that is a time spiral. That was a time spiral.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Found exactly what he was looking for. Pretty good, Alex Hatfield. Pretty good. Wow. And here it was, like, it was looking pretty bad for Alex.
Looking really bad.
He got
for
double
Alex.
himmed 3 or 4 Thoughtseize by,
yeah, I think he got
by Ely.
And double himmed triple Thoughtseized.
And oh man, this is
He's got like 6 cards in
this
his
is
hand.
crazy.
Yeah, I've been him twice. I haven't missed a line drop. Been
Yeah.
Thoughtseized 3 times.
And game 1, like Alex
I have 5 cards in my hand. What's going on? What are you guys doing?
absolutely insane.
Well, my opponent takes some extra turns, you know. It's cool.
Oh man. All right, so he ponders again. Oh man. This is absolutely insane. What a robust deck. Just shows how Alex has been able to take games all day long. He knows how to play his deck so well that he was able to pull this one out when I don't think a lot of players would be able to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of players would have conceded a long time ago. But at this point, I can't even imagine him losing.
Wow. Alright, and there's a time spiral. I'd recommend floating 6 in response. Tap those lands, Alex.
Well, yeah, he's going to... he's not casting the time spiral. He's simply discarding that time spiral to his mind over matter.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I had it mixed up there. I guess when you have 2 mind over... Like, it can't be a good sign. You're just waiting for your opponent to show you a time spiral, and he just discards it to mind over matter. You're like, oh, I know what the other card in his hand is. Alright, untap all my lands, get a bunch more mana. Oh. And I think in response, Ely has to kill off that mind over matter, the Pride Mage. Otherwise, he's going to be able to untap all of his candelabras. It's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, so down goes the mind over matter. There's still a big chunk of cards that Alex has removed from the game. Yeah, this is crazy.
And Alex needs to be able to create a lot of mana to finish Ely off. So the other thing is that Alex is going to have trouble drawing into another time spiral off of this, so he's really going to need to draw into the right combination of cards. So.
Yep, and Alex has a trademark pile shuffle, which is done all weekend to make sure, because like once again, you're at the total mercy of whatever time spiral gives you here. If it gives you 7 lands, you just instantly lose. So Alex is very careful with the shuffling to make sure that things are evenly distributed. Well, not in the way that he's stacking his deck, but in a way that that just is essentially randomized. Alex is looking much happier than we glanced at him about 4 minutes ago.
Oh yeah.
And wow, what a game to watch! This is an intense
Yeah, this is
final.
a very intense game.
Let's see what Alex pulls here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alex waiting with trepidation to see what there is. He untaps his 6 islands. He looks down at his cards. He leans back. We can't quite see what any of them are yet, but. Oh, I see some blue cards.
I see blue cards.
I see a Blue Sun Zenith. He's like, oh, I think he's just high tide, and then there's a Blue Sun Zenith involved.
Yeah, it's a lot of high tides.
Is that the Zenith? Yeah, I think it is. So much for that F6. says Dennis Dalgarn. Letting us know about that Brad Mage. All right, so here comes, and then he just shows the Zenith, and he's like, Alex, double check, make sure you can do it. Now he's like, look at all these lands, look at how much mana they can make. Look at
they all make a bajillion. I have 3 candles.
And in the truncated words of young Bella Flores, make 1 million mana, you're dead. So, wow, unbelievable. Look at Alex Hatfield.
It's a pretty sick game. He played that match really well, or that game really well.
Jeez, yeah, that was insane. I think a lot of high tide players there would have not been able to win.
I think by a lot, I think you actually mean everybody else who plays the deck. I don't think anybody could have won from
that. Is insane. Unbelievable. It's crazy. What a draw. Oh, man, so now we're going to a game 3, and this time Ely will finally have the opportunity to be on the play. Do you think we're going to see another great draw from Ely here, or what are you predicting for this game, Jake?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say Alix is going to take this in 3. After watching just how resilient his deck could be, like game 1, he had his hand completely taken apart. He got triple hemmed. But in game 2, he got double hemmed and triple fought seized, and he just ignored it and went off anyway. And that's absolutely unbelievable to me that his deck could be that resilient. So, I mean, if he's playing a deck with as many ponders and preordains and brainstorms as he is, like, I can't imagine the deck does anything besides what it does every game. So, that type of consistency leads me to believe that he has the power to beat even a very robust draw from Ely. So,
yeah, absolutely. It is certainly going to be a game to watch. This has been a finals to watch, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
A great weekend of Magic, and what a better way to cap it off in such a high-octane final. Ely just looking so far ahead. Him, 3, maybe 4 Thoughtseize. Alix just so slumping in his chair. He had nothing. And then he saw the glimmer of hope. He drew his card. It was a high tide. He was like, all right, if I draw the right card, I could win this game. He drew it, and it was totally unbelievable. I think, like, against all odds that we were expecting, he mounted an insane comeback to win that game.
It was pretty impressive.
Wow. Just wow. What a player. Alix Hatfield, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason people have been saying all day he's one of the top legacy players in the U.S., maybe in the world overall.
Yeah, Jerry walked over here around about 10 hours ago and said, hey, Jake, see that kid over there? Pointing over to Alix Hatfield. He's going to win. So, I mean, seems pretty telling.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Look at this deck.
Now Alix opens up with a mulligan here, which certainly isn't great for him considering the amount of disruption in Ely's deck, but he is on the draw, so he does get an extra card, which will put him at the 7 cards, just like he was in the previous 2 games. Alright, so Alix stares over his opening hand. Alright, he decides to keep. Ely leads on Mox Diamond. Discards Mazevith.
Again.
The monster's Mazevith is like...
That's all it is Diamond fodder.
Alright, Dark Confidant comes down. I mean, Ely did say that the one thing you can do with Mazevith is untap your Nether Reliquary after it attacks and has dealt damage, and end a combat step to untap it and get another effect out of your knight, which is kind of cute, but still not a great reason for the maze. But fortunately, he's had it to discard a Mox Diamond, and it's not been clogging up his draws.
Also, if you have multiple knight draws, you might want to use it to, like, anthem them or something, like, oh, I'll, tap my knight, fetch land, untap my knight, fetch land, and then you've just gotten ton of power for your knights, and they can crash in, probably, win in a single turn.
So that Dark Confidant for Ely is going to be huge. He's going to try and find the disruption he needs. Alix, in the meantime, trying to make sure he does not get disrupted out of this game. Well, I'm sure he'd be perfectly happy winning on the back of an unbelievable comeback again. He does not. He would prefer to not have to do that. Having his head dismantled as much so far is not what he was planning on. Alright, Alix sets up his ponder carefully and passes back. Reveals Jite to the Dark Confidant.
Now, Ely's got his Bob in play, and Alix's deck really just has no way to interact with it. So, I mean, if this gets Ely to the quick disruption he needs to battle here, he may be able to steal this game. The hymns and Thoughtseizes, you know, they may not be enough if he can't apply a lot of pressure on his opponent, but if he has any sort of reasonable clock to back up those types of disruption spells, I can't imagine he does poorly here.
No disruption by Ely here, just a Jite and not a second land or third mana source.
Yeah.
So that Confidant is looking good for him, and it's definitely a great card to play on turn 1 on the play, but no disruption this time, giving Alix some time to find, you can just kind of breathe and be like, finally I get to build my hand.
Yeah.
Oh my. Alix considering his line of play very carefully. Man, I still can't get over the absurdity of that game too. That was so crazy. That was one of the best games I've seen played, one of the greatest comebacks I've seen played. And it was all captured here on camera. I might go watch that one again when the footage goes back up. It is insane.
Time Spiral.
Yeah.
Proving itself to be one of the most powerful spells on the format.
Turns out draw 7 untap 6 lands. Pretty reasonable, even better when all your lands tap for 2+ mana. So, wow.
The Time Spiral is considered the most broken card in, like, a time where people were playing with Yawgmoth's Will.
Yeah, I mean, it was along with Learn Academy and all kinds of crazy things. So, Ely finds a land here, and he duresses. Alix, considering, might go for a Brainstorm in response to hide some cards on top.
Seems reasonable.
And yeah, this looks like that. Well, that's what's going to happen. So that Brainstorm is going to hide some cards. The question for Alix, of course, is which are the 2 most important cards, or the 2 cards he feels Ely is least likely to take, at least, that he wants to hide from that duress. Man. Tough decisions for Alix, and this is where your experience with the deck comes into play. We were talking earlier.
This is really hard.
Yeah, we were talking earlier kind of about how, like, with some combo players will just, you know, goldfish a bunch of times and be like, okay, well, I know how to play my deck perfectly. And the problem is when you play against disruption, you have to know how to do things like this. Set up your brainstorms to protect yourself against disruption, win through hate, when your opponent has counter magic, and you can tell Alix has tested against all of those things.
Oh yeah. He definitely knows his way around this deck.
Yes, these islands, you can tell he has snapped them into play several times. So the hand he reveals is a Merchant Scroll, Cunning Wish, Time Spiral, Turnabout, High Tide, and Misty Rainforest. It does make you wonder what he hid. But I mean, it's very potentially he's trying to mind trick Ely here. I did not see what Alix put on top of his library, but for example, like maybe the top 2 cards are 2 High Tides, and he's like trying to convince Ely to take the High Tide here. Obviously, Alix probably hid whatever he felt was best to hide. You know, whether it's hiding the best cards or simply tricking your opponent into taking the card you want them to take.
Gandalf is somewhere in the midst.
So, Ely is like, he knows this is huge. He knows this decision could potentially be the entire game, so he does take the High Tide. Yeah. I think that's probably the right decision given the cards you see, but it just makes you wonder, did Alix hide 1 or maybe even 2 High Tides?
Well, I mean, it's probably still correct to take the High Tide, even if there are 2 more.
Right. I mean, you just have to cut him off those High Tides. You can really stop his engine. Alright, so the Jite, well, obviously the killing creatures and gaining life isn't going to matter, just he does create a clock. That Confidant is now essentially a 6/5 creature, so
yeah,
Alix...
3 more turns.
Yeah, 3 more turns, assuming that Ely doesn't have any more pressure to put on Alix. Alix taking his time, thinking over his options. He does have that Misty Rainforest we know about. That plays it down. And he goes for a Merchant Scroll, so the other card he put back with Brainstorm is just going to get shuffled away. And he finds another copy of High Tide.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the card he's looking for. And so he has 3 lands on the battlefield now. And with 4 lands, you can go High Tide Time Spiral, which might be what he's trying to do. Obviously, in an ideal world, he wants to wait as long as possible, but I think time has proven that waiting as long as possible against Disruption is a dangerous
It's a dangerous game. It's hard to play that type of game.
Yeah, especially with that clock. The GTA is only going to give Hatfield a handful more turns to live. And flips to Dark Confidant, Bojuka Bog, which is somewhat relevant, being able to get rid of Alix's graveyard in case.
Also providing a second black mana so he casts the him in his hand.
Yeah, second black mana, very important. Yeah, Eli's board right now is Wasteland, Mox Diamond. So he's
not ideal in this matchup.
Yeah, the Wastelands are essentially blanks, and okay, well he drew a natural swamp here. Now he can him. And Alix is like, please do not hit this High Tide. Please, anything but the High Tide.
Well, he might have 2, because he might have had 1 on top. You never know.
Right, it's very possible. Don't hit 2 High Tide.
Imagine he just spikes 2.
But
swingy match.
Here we go.
So 1 to 0 for 5. It's a good way to randomize this. Just reroll if you don't roll a number.
Alright. So it looks like that card is going, and that card, both of them. Flip them in a place where we can see. I think one of them is new card frame, I think. But the other card looked old card frame. Yeah, we can't make out what's discarded. Rashad is checking for us.
Ooh. Yeah, Time Spiral Turnabout.
Time Spiral Turnabout, so 2 cards Alix definitely wanted, but he did not take the High Tide, which he needs. There's another Merchant Scroll. Alix is once again thinking, alright, like, what are we doing?
Eli's got his F6 button pressed again. He's got 2 colorless lines up.
Yeah, I don't think those are going to target Misty Rainforest.
Yeah, it seems very doubtful.
Although there are situations where that could be relevant. For example, if Alix brainstorms and he suspects that he might be hiding something, he could wasteland the Misty Rainforest, and then Alix has a choice between shuffling away the cards that he put on top or just losing a land.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's true.
So Alix goes for a Merchant Scroll, and he skips right past High Tide this time, looking for Brainstorm. And yeah, I think he wants that Brainstorm because he needs to find lands. He really needs lands to be able to get anywhere with his High Tide right now. That's the key, of course. When all your islands tap for 2 mana, the thing you want most are islands. So Brainstorm is I wouldn't be surprised if he just cast it right now. Nope, he passes back. You might want to be able to protect against any disruption, which seems totally fair. Also, you might want to be able to dig a card deeper. Alright, Eli flips off of Plains.
Yeah. Now we have, this is either going to be the last turn of Eli's tournament or the second to last turn of Eli's tournament, and nothing in between.
I mean, I guess Turnabout could come down, but yeah.
No more, no less.
Alright, Thoughtseize, and Alix goes, yep, I'm going to Brainstorm. So Alix drops down to 10 life here, and he's going to go for the Brainstorm, and he's going to take 6 off the Confidant on this turn, which means he's really trying to set up his combo piece. I didn't catch if Alix had a Turnabout in his hand to potentially buy another turn off that Dark Confidant, but even if you were to be able to tap the Confidant and save another turn, the extra card just gives Eli such a good chance of drawing another piece of disruption. You just can't afford to have that happen.
Yeah, and I thought he had discarded the Turnabout.
Yeah, I know he discarded 1 Turnabout. I wasn't sure if he had another. So Alix draws 3 cards. Considers who to put back. There is an island amongst them. I didn't catch what the other cards were.
Wow, so this deck seems like it's an exercise in,
in everything.
A great deal of patience and practice, and I love decks like this.
this kind of seems like something we're talking about earlier. I mean, this deck not only takes patience, but takes many of the other kind of topics we talked about over the whole weekend. It takes the ability to memorize like what piles you need, you know, like what are the important cards are, what mixtures of cards give you what amounts of mana, so you can do math quickly. You have to know when to go off. You have to know when to wait. You have to know, you know, what you do against disruption. It's just a crazy amount of things that Alix Hatfield has to know here, and you can tell they're all going through his head under that hat right there.
Oh yeah. This is a very important match of Magic right now.
Yes, absolutely. This is a lot. Oh man, so Alix is trying to figure out what am I doing with this brainstorm.
Yeah, he can put a lot of stuff like in a lot of places. I think what basically he's thinking right now, like, is there a way for me to win next turn? And yeah, I did not see a turnabout in those remaining cards there.
So I think he's trying to figure out how can I win next turn. What, even if there's only one possible way, you have to hit the correct combination of cards. Alix, you know, Alix is going to play for it because he has the foresight to see that. So Alix responded to the thought seized with the brainstorm. And for those of you just joining us, this is Game 3 of the finals. Alix Hatfield with his Time Spiral combo deck versus Ely with junk deck. Ely's been disrupting Alix the whole time. Alix Game 2 came back in what seemed to be an near impossible series of events.
Yeah, it was pretty unreal.
And Alix trying to figure out what's going on. Alix shows down a Ponder, a Time Spiral, and a Candelabra of Tawnos after hiding 2 cards on top of his library with Brainstorm.
Probably just take the Spiral because he probably hit a High Tide.
Yeah, I think
on top.
I think Ely probably has to take the Spiral here. No, I think
I guess the Ponder wins in the game then.
I mean, Ely knows that Alix hit a Time Spiral or a High Tide on somewhere in the top 2 cards because he merchant scrolled for a High Tide. So he knows there's at least one High Tide within the top 2 cards of Alix's library. On Ely's side of the board is an Umezawa's Jite attached to a Dark Confidant, a Swamp, 2 Wastelands,
Oh, so it looks like the Time
and a
Spiral
Mox
that just
Diamond.
wins.
What was that?
The Time Spiral that just wins, right? Its top card is High Tide. Next turn. Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, Ely...
If he just thought he used that Time Spiral.
Well, I mean, I think Alix would have almost certainly left Time Spiral on top if he didn't have a second copy.
Yeah, I mean, he thought about that for a long time, so maybe he's trying to run some kind of bluff or mind game here. It's really difficult to know. Clearly, it seems like the right play is, okay, well, you obviously hide the High Tide and the Time Spiral, but the problem is then, I think that Alix was realizing, is then he takes the Ponder, and then he has no way to draw the second card that he needs. Because if his top 2 cards are High Tide, Time Spiral, then he'll draw one of them, but he has no way to find the other one. So he needs the Ponder to be able to pick up the second card that he's looking for.
That's true.
Now, we don't know what the other card that Alix hit. It could very well be a Time Spiral. But we're going to find out here shortly.
I'd go with the gut. I'd take the Spiral. What do you take here? Ponder or Spiral?
It's
hard.
I think you have to take the Spiral. You know he has High Tide. Like, you know he has High Tide. It's probably on top of his deck.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't take the Spiral, he just wins and you pass.
And I think Alix was trying to figure out, can I make him take that Ponder? And what's going to make him take that
no,
Ponder?
if he has a Spiral in the top 2 cards alongside that High Tide, Ely just wins anyway.
Right, or
rather, Alix wins anyway.
Or even Alix a little bit deeper, because that Ponder will help him dig a little bit. He could potentially find another copy, even if he didn't hide it there purposely. It could all come down to the Ponder shuffle. And Ely once again wants to look at Alix's graveyard to figure out what is going on over there.
Now, he's going to get a crack here for another 6 damage.
So
it's going to bring Alix down to 3.
So Bojuka Bog eliminates Alix's graveyard, and Alix goes down to 3 life. This is it, right here. Alright, so Alix draws High Tide, and he knows these are. This is it. I got to go for it. Yep. So he casts High Tide. And what is that? What is on the Ponder? Is it in the top 3 cards? Is it not?
So,
or I guess you Candelabra first here. Yeah, I think you have.
Oh, well, you might as well ponder first, right?
I think no. I think.
It doesn't really make a difference. So
Oh, no, yeah, you still have 1 floating because of the high tide. So yeah, it works out the same way. Yeah, he still pay 4 and untap all 4 of his islands.
Yeah.
And Alix is clearly there's not immediately a time spiral there, but Alix is thinking about what his options are.
Man, Ely's gotta be.
But I mean, he also did. Yeah, I mean, Ely's like F6, F6, F6. You know, I mean, Alix. He didn't put the cards back immediately either, which makes me think that he's like thinking there might be something there, but he's trying to figure out what he can do. Alright, so he puts them back, and he indeed chooses to shuffle. So here it is.
Alright.
What is Alix Hatfield going to draw? What is on top of Alix Hatfield's deck? This is it. That's what it all comes down to.
A few cards it could be at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously he still has ponders and preordains he can draw, which will help him dig him to time spiral that he's looking for. Time spiral itself would just do it. Anything else, it's going to be pretty hard pressed.
Trying to think.
Blue Sun Zenith doesn't do it. Merchant Scroll doesn't do it.
He's only going to have access to 8 mana.
Brainstorm could dig him deep enough. I mean, you could draw Brainstorm.
Yeah, I think Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain. He needs to draw like 1 mana spells into time spirals.
He's like, alright, Ely, here's my deck. Cut it wisely. Okay. What is it? Oh! Unbelievable.
That is unreal. Yeah.
What?
So sick.
Unbelievable.
Oh man. You know, like I feel like whenever somebody's in those situations, they like always spike it. You know.
Really? Because I feel like it's always disappointing. They never have it. I am finally.
I always spike it. I don't know.
Like I am Mike Flores and Brian David Marshall, or sorry, Mike Flores and Randy Bewley sitting in the booth, and Craig Jones just drew his Lightning Helix. I feel like I just watched Gabriel Nassif draw his Cruel Ultimatum that he called. That is unbelievable. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. What a match of magic.
It's pretty nice.
Ely chose not to cut. And he left Time Spiral right where Alix wanted it.
It's the last turn.
Wow. Wow.
All right, so now it's time to see let's see if he whiffs here. This is a little harder to whiff than the last draw. Only access to, he has 1 active High Tide. He has access to 8 mana, so he can't really like do things like meditate into High Tide. He really needs additional copies of the actual instant 1 mana instant to go with some other card draw if he needs to actually draw into the.
Wow.
Oh, you see, that's actually a really nice play.
Yeah.
Still making a lot of extra mana by casting Echoing Truth and returning his Candelabra of Tonos from play back to his hand. Now he's down to 7 mana, but now he's down to 3 mana, and he's up to 11 mana, I believe.
Alix
At 11.
is looking good for Alix Hatfield here.
And I believe he's going to spiral again.
Wow.
Now he spirals again. He has 5 mana floating, and they're off again.
Unbelievable. This could. I think this is. It's all on camera, man. I'm definitely going back to watch this match.
I'm going to watch this match a few times. This is pretty unbelievable.
Not only am I going to watch this match for all the ways that this stuff happened, I'm going to watch this match and be like, how many ways could I have screwed this up? You know, be like how many ways could I have just made a mistake where Alix would have played correctly? Because yes, okay, Alix has gotten a little lucky here, But at the same time, Alix has played to the point where he can get lucky, you know? Like, if he just makes a couple plays differently, he might just be dead. In both Game 2 and Game 3. But, yes, the excitement of a drawing of Game 2, come back with the back against the wall. Game 3, and it's not over yet, but it's certainly looking very good for Alix Hatfield, as long as he doesn't just whiff on this time spiral. Oh, man. Alright, both players pick up 7 new cards. Untaps all of his islands.
Let's see.
See what Alix says here.
Ely doesn't even bother looking at his hand because who cares, you know? Like, it's basically he's getting fishbowled now, and if he gets the turn back, spurring a turnabout or echoing truth, he's just going to kill his opponent with the confidant.
Man.
Now he's 3 mana floating. He's 1 mana floating. Merchant Scroll is going to search the library. Probably going to get another High Tide. Yeah, that'll probably give enough mana to power up something like a Blue Sun Xena.
Oh man, High Tide comes down
Tide.
again.
So he has no mana left in pool. He's going to...
Oh man, here we go.
Yeah, so you can tap these for 12. And once he taps these for 12, then he has the Candelabra. And
here's Meditate for
11
cards.
And then 7. Alright, so...
Wow. This is just... I'm just in awe at this game. This is crazy. This is
pretty unreal.
I think this is the most exciting match of Magic I've ever watched. Like, it's a 2-for-1 special. You get it in 2 games in a row. Like, Lightning Helix only happened once.
Another
you know?
Meditate. And if he passes the turn...
Yeah, I would not recommend passing the turn if your name is Alix Hatfield. Fortunately, for him, I do not think that's the case.
Oh man. Now,
here comes the Candelabra of Thanos.
Candelabra, untap all of his lands. His hand is filled with lots of goodies.
Yeah, I think Alix has this one. It's just a matter of him going through emotions.
Yeah.
And brainstorms here.
He's trying to find more copies of High Tide, maybe more copies of Candelabra. He just needs cards to get him to a big enough number where he can Blue Zenith and cast it for a truly absurd number.
Goodness gracious. High Tide.
Now each of those lands taps for 4 mana.
So he's got the Blue Sun Zenith in his hand. It's a matter of him setting things up. He's got double Candelabra of Thanos, which is going to make a ton of mana.
It's hard to go off with just 4 lands.
It certainly is.
You really have to do a lot of work.
Helps when all those lands tap for so much mana. Alix is figuring out the optimal route to go here.
Alright, now he's going to play Candelabra.
Yep. Tap it.
Untap all his lands. Forgive me, folks, I just lost count. I had it for a little while.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know how much mana his islands make anymore.
They make 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I know is that they're just getting tapped and untapped, and then Candelabra comes down, they come back up, and then he casts a Time Spiral, they turn about, then he makes more mana. Wait, you can untap artifacts?
Yeah.
And he shows in the Blue Sun Zenith, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a round of applause right there for Alix Hatfield.
That was really impressive.
Unbelievable. What a game of Magic. We're going to get him into the booth here real fast so he can tell us a little bit about his, a little bit about what was going through his head there in that match. Okay. We get Alix, please.